Good morning, Thailand. In today's topics, we'll be talking about an investigation in land encroachment, problems with the reopening, and finally, whale poop. That's all coming up in today's episode. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Good Morning Thailand. I'm Jay and joining me today is Tim.
Hi, hope you had a good weekend.
Hope you did indeed. Now, Tim, before we start, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Coffee Culture, for providing us these lovely Italian roast, as well as different Thai blended coffee from around Thailand.
But wait, there's more.
There is more. Now, Tim has just brought in their new organic Doi Mot coffee. It is farmed and roasted by the local hill tribes in Chiang Mai called the Lahu tribe. And for every 250 gram purchase of this bag, Coffee Asia donates one life bag to one Phuket donation.
And it's great that you were able to remember all that.
Of course.
On the back of these ones, there's a nice little pinhole where you can smell the coffee.
Oof, and there's nothing
Oh my
good
God,
or
that's
better than coffee in the morning. Wait, how does it... Okay. I think I'm just going to leave him in a room alone with the coffee bag.
That's nice.
Leave the coffee bag alone, Tim. Right, and you can find your roasted or ground coffee on coffeeculture.asia, as well as these beautiful mugs, limited to 100 cups only. So visit coffeeculture.asia. Tim, leave the bag alone.
Sorry.
It's time for the news. Right.
I've got a bit of an interesting COVID update.
Okay.
This is some information from the weekend. Now, we do know that in Thailand, the numbers are slowly trending down, which is good. Interestingly, over the weekend, Southeast Asia across the board is also starting to trend down, but the number of deaths is trending up.
Yes.
A third of the deaths over the weekend came from one Southeast Asian country. Out of all of Southeast Asia, which country?
Indonesia.
Malaysia.
Ooh.
Very interesting. So, we keep on tracking those particular statistics. 758 deaths across Southeast Asia on Saturday. A third of those from Malaysia.
That's very sad news indeed. So we will start off today's episode with our first topic, which will be about investigation on land encroachment. Now,
the term encroachment sort of took you a bit by surprise today.
yes, it did.
If you live on the island of Phuket, encroachment is something that we used to see in the news a lot. Parcels of land that people were building huge resorts on that were later found to be not properly processed or they didn't have the correct land titles. Another one has emerged, which is currently being investigated by the Department of Special Investigations and the National Anti-Corruption Corporation, NAAC. What's the C stand for? National Anti-something Corruption.
Committee?
Anyway, them are chasing up these land deeds for a property in central Phuket called Sipanwa. Now, Sipanwa is known for beautiful views.
Yeah.
Have you been to that pool?
Yes.
Called the Bird's Nest?
I believe so, yeah. It's all the way up high and with an amazing view.
Amazing view. And owned by the Isara family. And the founder of that particular property, his name is Warasit. He's very well known in political circles and a huge defender of the Thai PM and supporter of the current regime. Now, the investigations are going into exactly how they got hold of this land. And in fact, if the Bird's Nest, that amazing, we've seen the view many times, here it is again, if that has been built on forest land. So this is just the latest in a long, long list of cases now being investigated by the Anti-Money Laundering Office and the Royal Forest Department. They're involved as well. So the questions will then be asked is who gave permission, if something has happened, who gave permission for these parcels of land to be handed over, who issued the dodgy land deals, and then a further investigation, of course, will have to go into the past Phuket officials who issued the land deeds. So just another one of these cases of the rich doing very well and the poor not doing so well. Will this investigation just sort of magically fade away and peter out? We'll be following it and we'll do our best to keep you informed.
Sure.
Jay, the information for that article came from Thai Inquirer.
Right, so I guess there's an investigation on that land encroachment. All right, we'll be taking a short break and we'll come back and return and talk about the problems of the reopening as Tim continues to smell the coffee. Leave the coffee alone, Tim. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Thailand with me, Jay, and Tim. Now, Tim, we're now going to talk about the reopening again.
Do we have to?
Do we have to? Because new problems and new information keeps popping up. Tim, tell us, what is it now?
Well, as you know, the whole train of thought about the reopening of Thailand was put in place by the Prime Minister back on June the 16th. He said in 128 days we'll be reopening the country.
Yep.
Well, we're now about 2 weeks away from that, the middle of October, and it looks like at the very minimum, any broad reopening is going to be pushed back to November the 1st.
Yeah.
But there are still quite a few problems. Not the least of them, a lot of tourists who think coming back to a reopened Thailand does not include quarantine or vaccinations or anything. They say, if you're open, let's just come. But no, that's not going to happen. One of the problems is that there are 77 provinces in Thailand, well, 76 plus Bangkok. They've all got different rules.
Yeah.
So you come and you comply and you arrive in Bangkok or, say, Phuket, and then every time you go to another province, you've got to go, well, can I go here? And what are the changes in the opening hours? Is there a curfew? Because 29 provinces are still under curfew.
For a quick example, if you're living in Phuket, you can travel to Bangkok. However, if you want to come back to Phuket, that's going to be another issue for you.
Yeah, and that changes on the 1st of October as well.
Yes.
In a positive way, by the way, they're going to sort of reduce the entry restrictions a little bit. Another problem is that the inoculation is very lumpy across the country, and that in some provinces now they're talking about extra boosters.
Yeah.
In fact, now Phuket, I believe, has got
Yes.
some 20% of the people who have received a booster. Have you?
No, not yet. I'm
Either
planning
have I.
to. They will allow foreigners to register for it in the next coming days, so we'll have to wait and see.
But in some provinces, the inoculation, they haven't even got 5% of their population with even one vaccine. So that's lumpy. Now, there's also a lack of clarity about replacing the emergency decree with the updated Communicable Diseases Act, which we've spoken about many times. And visitors are still going to have a certificate of entry. List these because the questions will be asked. Health insurance with at least 100,000 US COVID coverage, prepayment for all COVID-19 tests, and that cost in itself about 8,000 baht. That would be good spending money for your holiday.
Yep.
And advanced hotel bookings all have to be organised before you get your certificate of entry or can come to the country.
All right, Tim, what about like the PCR test and testing for COVID?
Well, at the moment, if you want to have a PCR test, they can cost 2,000 to 3,000 baht.
Yeah, very expensive compared to other countries.
Now, I'm looking at returning, as you are, to Bangkok in a few weeks. And if I want to come back to Phuket, and I used to enjoy coming back every weekend when I was working in Bangkok, that means I'm going to have a test to go up and a test to come back. And that's going to add a lot of cost, assuming that the flight's not going to be quite as cheap as they used to be as well. And so the other thing is that there should be one set of standard operating procedures and quarantine-free programs applied everywhere in the country. This is being demanded by a lot of the chambers of commerce. And our friend Tassapon from AirAsia, he says that instead of offering a 40% subsidy for hotel rooms and air tickets, which is currently on offer to domestic tourists, they say that they should be offering a subsidy of at least 70% to make it sort of valuable. So really, I think if you're talking about a reopening with all these problems still here, and the fact that tourists simply don't want to quarantine or have PCR tests, then even November the 1st doesn't seem to be realistic.
Right. And again, there are going to be more changes to the red zones. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, Jay. Seems like we've scripted the show. Yes. Do you know how many? Yeah, there are 29 red zones.
29, yes.
Dark red zones. There
Yes.
are red zones and there are orange zones. We're in an orange zone here.
Yeah.
Red zones, orange zones, no curfew. You can go to a restaurant and eat.
Yes, we have some restrictions, but no curfews, yes.
So they're talking about of shortening the curfew hours at the 29 dark red zones, which includes Bangkok.
Okay.
So you won't have to rush back home by 9, you'll have to rush back home by 10.
Mm-hmm.
So they're talking about reducing it by 1 hour. Everybody out there's going, really? And also 11 types of business establishments may be able to reopen. This is the big one. Spas, cinemas, restaurants with live bands, tutorial schools, sporting grounds and museums. Because damn it, I've been wanting to go to a museum.
I know, right? I mean, I can't wait.
So yeah, that looks like it's going to be announced today. Whether they're going to change the list of the 29 dark red zones, you suggested that might happen.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We hope so. Oh God, put the coffee down. I guess that's time for another break, I guess. So we'll take another quick break and we'll come back and talk about the main topic today, which is whale poop. I know you've all been waiting for it, and I hope you finished your croissants and coffee because it's time for whale poop right after this. And welcome back to Good Morning Thailand. Tim, it's now time to talk about the topic of the day, whale poop, or also known as ambergris.
Yeah, this I suppose comes from a story that was published on the weekend about a person in Phuket along Mai Khao Beach, which
Yep.
is, I'm sort of pointing to it up there.
Yeah, near the airport.
To the north. And he found, everybody's going to be rushing up to Mai Khao Beach now, a big chunk of this ambergris, this whale poop. Apparently it can come out the other end of the whale as well.
It can, but actually it is called whale poop. It used to be called whale vomit, but it's actually been cleared now by proper scientists that it does actually come through the stomach and the intestines through the bottom as feces. So it is a whale poop.
Hope
But
you're
yes,
enjoying your breakfast.
a local villager in Phuket was just walking around and jogging, as he's saying, on a Thursday morning. He came across this substance, which he thinks is ambergris, and it can cost up to 30 million baht. So he might have literally just walked and found gold.
$1 million.
Yes.
Wow. For the excrement from a whale.
Yeah.
But it's quite rare.
That's right. Ambergris is one of the most valuable animal-derived substances on the planet. Here's some pictures of how it looks like. With 1 kilogram, it can fetch up to $50,000, Tim.
Well, there's some of what's been coming out the back of these whales. This one was how many kilograms? 17 or 18 kilograms?
Right. This substance that the man found was actually 19.5 kilograms. So he might have stumbled upon a lot of money.
But I did a quick search this morning. The record
Yeah.
chunk of ambergris found
Yes.
in the world is 171 kilograms.
By some fishermen.
Yes, in Oman, I think.
Yemen.
Yemen.
On the coast near the...
Same part of the world.
Sure.
And for our American viewers, that's divide that by 2.2 for pounds.
Right.
No, multiply
yeah.
by 2.2 for pounds.
Right.
So I'm thinking 171 kilograms coming out the back of a whale.
Yeah.
Poor whale.
Well,
That's going to hurt.
yes, I guess. But, it's very difficult. And the reason it's so
Of course it's
expensive
difficult.
is because the ambergris is formed from a secretion of the bile duct in the intestines of the sperm whale. And it can be found floating on the sea or washed up on the coastlines. And it is also, obviously can be found if sometimes they find dead sperm whales. And only 1% of 350,000 sperm whales that are on Earth can actually make it. 1% of the sperm whales.
So you've got to be a special sperm whale.
Exactly. Special amongst special, because it is still an endangered species.
I'd never thought we'd be saying the word sperm on this program, but there you go.
Well, there we go. Sperm whales dump out hundreds of pounds of this stuff at a time, and it actually takes decades for it to actually harden, which then makes it become valuable. So
And what's it used for?
for. Very long purpose. It is valuable because in Asian cultures, it's used for medicine and traditional treatments, as well as used as spice in certain places.
But isn't it like used for the perfume industry?
That's right. So it has such a high value also because it's used in high-end fragrance industry. So, perfume companies like Chanel, Lanvin, like the creme de la creme of high-end perfumes, used it predominantly to fix scent to human skin.
In some countries, it is illegal to pick up the ambergris, even if you come across it.
Yes.
So we're not sure if this fisherman
Yeah.
has come across a 30 million baht windfall, or maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not.
Apparently, it's not illegal in Thailand. We're not 100% sure about that.
Right.
I'm sure you will tell us.
Right, and you can find the latest information on whether the substance that was found in Phuket is in fact actually ambergris on thetiger.com.
Just to finish there, I've got a quick announcement about highways. Have you ever been driving around Bangkok?
Yes.
You go through those tollways with the boom gates?
That's the only way to travel in Bangkok if you don't want to be stuck.
Oh, for sure. But you have to stop at the gate and you have to pay
Yes.
30 baht, 40 baht, 50 baht. And you can whip across the city very, very quickly through them. They're now introducing boomless gates.
Okay.
So the technology, they're trying at two particular toll plazas from the start of October, and they are at the Tap Chang 1 and 2 and Thanyaburi 1 and 2. I'm not exactly sure which toll gates they are, but they're in Bangkok, and they've got the technology now, which I think they've had in other parts of the world for about the last 20 years, to read the number plate, and they'll send you a bill at the end of the month.
Wow, that's great.
So I think that's obviously the future. So you don't have to have beep, beep, beep up on the top of your windscreen, and you don't have to go through the toll plazas and stop, which will certainly help the flow of traffic.
Yeah. Tim, what about EU and its standardizing of ports?
So here's a photo of two ports that you have to have
Yes.
if you've got like an iPhone, an Apple iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so here we are, we've got the Lightning connector,
Yeah.
and you've got the Type-C connector.
Yes.
So what the EU are now saying is they want to standardise the Type-C connector across all technologies like laptops, tablets, phones, no matter what sort of phone, they want to standardise. But Apple are saying, no, what about innovation? We want to have our Lightning, we want to have whatever the next generation is going to be called.
To be honest, I think it's a great thing that the EU is doing that.
So do I.
And I don't care what Apple say. Innovation, they're not stopping innovation. If they're going to, come out with iPhone 11 and then iPhone 11X in 6 months and change the charger and just increase
We're up to the iPhone 13.
increase the cost. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, for example.
So Apple's saying, no, we want the Lightning G12 to come out in a couple of years. We want you to buy a new connector,
Yeah.
and so your old connectors will be thrown
Useless, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be great to have one connector to charge all your equipment. So thumbs up to the EU.
Good job, EU. Right, I guess that's all for today. Those are all the stories. Anything to add, Tim?
No, that's it. I hope you had a great weekend. I did. And we had a meeting last night at a restaurant called Tong Di, where we had our Sunday roast, and was the getting together of the Library of Congress, and we solved the world's problems.
Right.
Thank you for a very nice roast meal.
All in a good day's Sunday. Right, we hope you enjoyed today's show. If you have any comments or feedback, please leave them in the comment section below. Thank you to Coffee Culture for the new roasted blend. Find your roast of Thai coffee on coffeeculture.asia. That's all from us. Have a great Monday.